you today? So I totally had on my schedule that the lovely and fabulous Selena Maestas was going to join me today to talk about feminism and the coaching work that she does. But she's not well. And so I decided to take this opportunity to come on live and tell you about this incredible process that I have been using with my clients to shed light on their shit. So let's see. I've had a couple of clients who have really, and workshop participants who have really been struggling with figuring out how to get rid of emotion and really like do some big, powerful stuff. So last week I had this client who really wanted to pursue some of her bigger dreams, and something was holding her back and we couldn't quite figure it out. And so I asked her what the first word that came up was for her, and she said fear. And I was like, okay. So I asked a couple more clients, what's holding you back? What's keeping you from exploring your big dream? What's keeping you from moving forward as a natural born rebel? Like, what is causing you pain? And they like, what's holding you back? And they were like, pain. I was like, okay. So I keep asking my clients, what are these things that are holding you back? Like, what do you want to do? And they all have these really horrible words. And so I've been teaching them how to do a mind map based on how they're feeling and what's holding them back. So, for example, I'm just going to think about something in my own life that I have been holding back. And so that has been writing my book, which, by the way, I have been writing every day. So just so you know, I've been writing my book every day. So my book is called The Graceful Revolution. It's really wonderful. I've got it all outlined. I've got the intro done, but things are still holding me back and it's still really hard. And so one of the things that has been keeping me from writing my book has been I don't want to say fear because I'm pretty knowledgeable about my fear, but I think it has been uncertainty. So I'm going to write that down on my little piece of paper. I'm going to write down uncertainty because that is really the thing that is keeping me from writing my book. So maybe you have a piece of paper and a pen and you've got something that you're holding back on and you're like, I don't know about this. So what is the word that keeps holding you back? So what I'm doing is I'm taking that word, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to do 5 little lines. Sorry, I forgot to turn off my phone. Tato, we don't need you. 5 little lines from that uncertainty. And in each one of those lines, I'm going to put what that makes me feel. So when I think about being uncertain about my book, my magical, amazing book that I'm going to write, one of the things is fear. One of the things is visibility, unworthiness. What else am I afraid of when it comes to writing my book? I'm not worthy. People won't like me. I'm likable. I'd say there's a little bit of shame there. So see, there it is. So I've got these 5 words that come out of this idea of uncertainty. And here is my theory here. We get told all the time, especially by the, I'm a social worker. My background is in social work. And I think a lot of times we think that in order to heal, we have to take people through their trauma. So we have to go back through all the trauma that keeps them stuck and keeps them from moving forward. And I am here to sort of dismantle that idea, although I do think in some circumstances that is important. But I think we err too much on thinking that the healing comes from reliving the actual event of trauma. And instead, hey, Marin, I really have this theory that the way we are going to heal is really by shedding light to, I'm so glad you're here, Marin, because I was totally going to talk to you about this today, shedding light on our emotions. So this idea that uncertainty, fear leads to these other feelings, and shedding light on these feelings is how we get through to the next phase. So with each of these bubbles, you would come up with two more words that really describe these things, like two other words that come. So for me, like with the shame, so I'm uncertain about writing my book. I feel shame because I don't think I am valid enough to be the expert. And I feel shame because I don't feel like I feel like I'm invalid, like I'm not the expert. I don't know what I'm talking about. And I feel shame because I have this like imposter thing going on. Like, who am I to write a book? Like, I don't know, Dr. Melissa Bird, PhD, what's my deal? So I've written those two words, like I'm invalid and I'm an imposter. And my fear really is, what if nobody buys it? Like, what if everybody thinks it's silly and like I don't sell any copies of my book, even though I finished a workshop on February 7th and 3 people asked me where my book was so they could buy it. So I don't know. I don't know. I'm afraid it's unsellable. And then I'm really afraid of what will happen if I do become a bestseller. So what happens if I do become a bestseller? Like, so it's unsellable, but I'm really afraid of it selling so good that it becomes a bestseller. And then what am I going to do if that happens? So you can see by going through this process of bringing your feelings out into the light that it can help you process the things and feelings that are holding you back. And one of the things that I really like to tell my clients is that if you can go through this process, you can really start to see and give yourself permission to heal some of those things, some of these things that are holding you back. So one of the things I'm going to do with this is I can take these words and do the reverse of them to put my mindset and flip my brain and flip how I'm thinking about this so take my uncertainty to certainty. I'm certain I should be writing this book because it is the gift that I get to give to other people. You know, I am worthy of writing this book. I'm not unworthy. I'm worthy of writing this book because I have been creating these processes for basically my whole entire career that I'm going to give to other people to help them engage in graceful revolution. Visibility, I'm not going to be invisible. So the problem is that I will be visible. And so I'm not going to reverse that word, but I'm going to think about what it is about visibility that scares me. One of the processes that I've really been trying to work on with myself over the last year and a half or so is this idea that if I am visible, then I will be killed. Last time I was really, really, really visible was in my job in Utah as the lobbyist for Planned Parenthood. And a lot of trauma came from that. There was a lot of death threats. There was a lot of violence. There was a lot of things that happened to me that I don't want to go through again. And so when I think about writing this book and about visibility, the thing that is holding me back is this idea that if I am visible, people will come after me and hurt me. And I don't think that's the case, but that's something I got to get over to make this happen. The idea that I am unlikable is actually something that I struggle with all of the time. And many of you might be thinking, oh, really? But really, I do. Hi, Liz. So this idea that I am unlikable and that people won't like me if I say these controversial things, or this idea that I at my core want to have lots and lots of people like me. And I go back to this idea, and I really struggle with this idea a lot, because the bottom line at the end of the day, y'all, is that I have been really learning that getting rid of the people who don't like you opens up space for the people to come in that do like you. And so my message is not going to resonate with everybody. And your message is not going to resonate with everybody, but we still have to say our message. Like, we still have to call in the people who we can best connect with and touch and work with and be with and love with. Because if we aren't willing to sort of take this idea that we are unlikable and flip it so that we can realize that we don't have to be liked by everybody, but that the people that we are meant to be connected with and come together with and be within the world will come to you when you open up that space and release this idea that you have to be likable to everybody. And I feel like that's a really powerful thing for women in particular, because I don't think men struggle with this as much, although I think as I've watched several men in my life, maybe they do. Like, maybe they do struggle with this. Yeah, likability is a lifelong learning, right, Liz? Totally. So I'm thinking about how do we kind of, the idea is not to relive trauma. It's not to like go through the story over and over and over again, but it's literally to go through the action of writing the words onto paper that are keeping us hidden and keeping us back. And if we can write down the words on paper and shed light on those words, look, I've got sunshine shining on my words. I've got a lamp shining on my words. I've brought them forward out of the darkness and forward into light, which happens to be the suffrage motto that's tattooed on my back. If we bring things into the light, then they no longer seem as daunting. So this uncertainty, even though it seems like a silly, simple thing that I've written it down on this piece of paper, actually bringing it into the light and going through this process, this mind mapping process of writing down the words that really connect to it, going through this process makes me look at it and go, this isn't so bad. Like, I can handle this. I don't have to be certain about what's going to happen with my book to write the book. I just need to write the damn book. So I can assure you that the graceful revolution is happening because I've been writing the damn book. So really be thinking about what is it in your world that you could totally take 15 minutes, 10 minutes, even 5 minutes to write down what's keeping you from taking action, what's keeping you from moving forward, what's stopping you from living out your divine assignment and being that rebel that we need you all to be. What is the one thing that's stopping you? And put it down on paper and bring it to light and see if you can help dissipate some of that shame and fear and feelings of unworthiness that you may have been feeling so that you can move forward and do your work. Because let me tell you about what's happening in 2020, yo. We need you to go forth and do your work. Like, we really need you to do what your divine assignment is. We really need you to fall into your calling. Every single one of us has a different purpose right now, and we have got to fall into our calling. We cannot wait. We cannot let these words and feelings keep us from moving forward and taking action on what we're supposed to be doing. So I am really sad that Selena was unable to join us today, but she will be coming back later on in the series. And I hope that you will join us next week, Wednesday at noon, for my next special guest, who will be talking with me about feminism and all the things. So thank you for joining me live today. I hope you go forth and have a beautiful day. I just wish you all well, and I think you're amazing. Bye.